Hey, what's up? Gary here. It's an exciting day. Neural DSP just released their Parallax X series update. So it's an update to their Parallax base plugin. I'm super excited to take a look at this, review it, look at the differences between the original and the new X, and also what it means to you to potentially think about upgrading. Let's go check it out. Let's get started by taking a look at Neural DSP's website for Parallax X and see what they've called out specifically for new features that have been added. Okay, so that's the biggest thing I want to cover first. First one being transpose. This is a big one. A lot of people have been looking for this, myself included. It's really nice. You can have a complete interval going above or below 12 semitones from the input that you're providing to the plugin. So this is really cool to be able to give you the ability to either up or down tune your guitar signal coming through the plugin by those 12 semitones up or down. Okay, and it gives you the ability to be able to do that without having to change your tuning, and I think that is a really cool thing. It's pretty versatile, especially for really pros and bedroom rockers alike. It doesn't really matter, but for bedroom rockers specifically, I can see this really helping if you have a entry-level bass that's say 4-string and you're trying to play some of those lower tunings and things that you don't have the capability of being able to do, because if you down tune that low, then your bridge might not be able to support the string tension that you need to be able to make that happen. Right. So in the case of being able to use a transpose, you can literally go to those lower depths of tuning like a lot of modern metal has, right? And being able to accommodate that without the need of the hardware to support it. Also, this comes down to just something being really easy. If you're in a middle of a recording session, you want to change up your tuning and don't have time to be able to go through a lot of those things, or if your guitar isn't suited for it, it just gives you the opportunity to jump right in and make those changes on the fly, which is really cool. And you can experiment too, which is pretty neat. So I think that's definitely something really cool to be able to have. Pro tip for myself, whenever I've used transpose with a couple of the other X plugins in the past, what I'll do is I'll use the plugin in Logic, I'll record a clip of me playing a specific part, and then I'll actually play with some of the transpose settings and keep replaying that clip, just to be able to audition different tunings as I'm playing with it too. It really helps you to be able to unlock some of your creativity with that opportunity to have the ability to tune that, which I think is really cool. So transpose, great feature, definitely one that's heavily needed for most any of these modern plugins, and I'm happy to see across the entire X series. It's great. On-screen tuner. This is nice. I mean, it's a quality of life thing, so that's pretty cool. I do definitely like having it in the corner to be able to see, but then again, I play on a rig that I have an actual physical tuner on my board that I always see at all times, as well as, you know, whatever's on the screen from a X plugin if I happen to be playing one. So it's a really good option. You still have the tuner anyways in the other ones, but at least at this point you can enable it on the fly. I actually see it on the screen in real time, which is cool. Finally, a metronome, programmable metronome that you can play with and be able to set to however you like. You can set your time signatures up in it. You can tell it the type of sounds that you want, which is kind of nice. I do like the fact that you can change that sound bite for what that noise is. So you can change it to something a little bit more soothing or something that can cut through a mix depending on what you're doing. And then also obviously just having a metronome available in a standalone plugin is very helpful for people that are working on practice and being able to do different things. So I think as a standalone application, the metronome is a must for sure. Maybe if you're using it inside of a DAW or something similar, you probably won't be coming to this very often. You'll probably use the DAW's metronome feature just because you'll have it across the board, right? And you could potentially track that in as well. But be that as it may, definitely I'm not going to turn down any features that they throw in here. It's always better to get more, in my opinion, with this. So you have transpose, tuner, and metronome as your 3 main new feature updates on X. The final feature update that you have, though, is the fact that it is now on the X architecture. Okay, so there's a couple of major benefits there with the X architecture. One being if you are on Apple Silicon and been able to do these things, the X architecture works better. It's more efficient there, so you're not having to run it in a format that's potentially emulated or anything of the sort. So it's gonna be a little bit more performant with your sound, the ability to not have it clip, not using as much processor power. That's all good things there when it comes to this X update. But also, they really take the entire plugins framework and build it almost from the ground up over again. Okay, and that framework is very modular and built towards the hardware that Neural DSP builds, the Quad Cortex being the primary. And that's a really good thing because every single plugin that is on the X architecture, okay, has the capability of being ported over directly to the Quad Cortex. This is a big deal. This is a really big deal because you can literally take all of these plugins and actually officially have them supported on hardware that you can go out and gig with. So that same exact sound that you can get in that plugin when you're playing on your DAW, when you're playing, you know, on your standalones and being able to make that happen, you can take that exact plugin, download the presets for it, have it directly on with your captures to the Quad Cortex, and have that exact sound follow you to any place you play, which is absolutely incredible. I really do like this. It's a great thing. I really have it. I can't think of any other modelers out there right now that have the ability to actually have plugins be portable. So this is I think a first, and it's gonna be groundbreaking. Now that feature isn't going to be here until CoreOS 3.0, okay? And there are going to be a couple plugins that are going to be supported. I've heard very heavily that there's probably going to be a Parallax plugin availability day one on 3.0. Fingers crossed, really hoping that that's the case, because I would love to be able to have a really solid delivery of a plugin support for the Quad Cortex for my bass coming up pretty soon here. So I would love to be able to have that. We'll see what this month or maybe the next month holds when that is released. But until then, we'll see what happens. So you're technically 4 main things that you've gotten for features is being rebuilt on the X platform. Definitely a good thing if you're a Quad Cortex user. Transpose, tuner, and metronome. Let's take a very brief look at a side-by-side comparison of the standalone plugin for Parallax and Parallax X. Okay, I just want to show you a couple brief changes in the UI as well as the quality of life change just in the sizing. As you'll notice right away, on the left-hand side here, I have Parallax X. On the right, I have the standard Parallax, okay? The window's bigger on Parallax X. This is set to maximum at the moment. So this is the largest that it'll go on a 4K display on the latest Mac OS, okay? But that's a substantial difference in the sizing. And I'll be honest with you, I really do appreciate being able to go this large. Now, I don't necessarily need it this big. I think probably extra large would be a good spot for me to still be able to see all right. And you'll notice it's still slightly bigger than the original Parallax on its extra large setting. But the main reason why I mention this is for modern displays that are in 4K, these get really small, right? Like if I go down to medium, this gets to be pretty difficult to see, right? Like now granted, if you really like small interfaces and you're sitting really close to your MacBook's display or whatever your PC display too, that's fine. I mean, that's okay. But I struggle to be able to see it, especially if I throw the plugin up here to this corner. This is further away from my vision and being able to see to a point where that's kind of a pain in the ass if I'm not lying to you to be able to do. But if I make it a little bit bigger, even into here, this is just an easier way to be able to see, make quick changes, and then I could probably even make it smaller if I wanted to get it out of the way. Like if I was using a DAW or something, I'd make it big for a moment, make the changes I need, then kind of get it out of the way or just minimize it entirely. But I did want to mention this because this is a good quality of life change, okay? Now let's take a quick brief look at those 3 main components that have been updated as features. So the first one, the live tuner, okay? So this is where the tuner used to be in Parallax. Okay, down here in the corner, you have the tuning fork. Obviously, it doesn't have the live tuning feature in there. If I click tuner here and then click live tuner, boom, now you have your tuner displayed down here, and in real time it will show you your tuning. I'll show you that in a minute, but with running both of them right now, I don't want my sound to go through both. It'll clip immediately. Going to the next part, metronome. Obviously you don't have a metronome here, so let's take a look at the metronome feature. This is where you have the ability to control the volume of the metronome's overall volume in your actual mix itself, setting your time signature, what the sound effect is going to be to be able to have this. I really do love this feature. I love the fact that you can actually manipulate that in real time. You can also set it to a different place. This is kind of cool. You can pan it to right or left channel. So if you don't want it to be coming through the entirety of the chain, you just want to push it to one side of the listening to be able to give you as much ability to listen to the rest of the mix as possible. When that's happening, this definitely makes that able to be done, which is pretty cool. So that was thinking ahead for sure for people in the studio. You have a tap tempo here, so instead of tapping like you usually would in the other one, you can actually do the tap tempo in this area here, or you have the tap outside to be able to make that happen. And let's go ahead and just listen to it at 120. That's blip, lock and shaker, cowbell, because we definitely need more cowbell. This would annoy the hell out of me. Digital. Definitely cool. Really happy to have that. It's a great quality of life thing. Yeah, so that's pretty much it besides transpose. Oh, transpose, I should show you that too. This is the knob where you can go up or down 12 semitones, right? In your transposition. This is where you're going to control that. So before, where you just had your input mode and that was it, right next to gate, now you have the transpose knob as well. Now we will take a very brief walkthrough of the plugin. If you're a newcomer to Neural DSP's Parallax and you haven't really had a lot of experience with it, I'll walk you through the very basics of the features and kind of who this plugin is aimed at, okay? So let's first look at the people that this plugin is aimed at. It's going to be bassists and bassists that want a very versatile tone, that want the ability to get aggressive with that tone, to have it be distorted, to make it more, modern metal-esque. And you can go through all different genres and eras of metal with these configurations too, by the way. But versatility truly is key here. So if you really want to be able to have that clean fat tone in one part of your preset and then go to another preset where it's just like nothing but just dirt and gain and punch and all that goodness, you can make that happen all in the same plugin, which is pretty cool. And there's not many that give you this versatility like this, especially not at this price point. So it's a really, really good plugin. So essentially what the engine is doing behind the scenes in this plugin is trying to emulate a old way that metal bassists would try to attain their tone. And what that means is they basically would have to run two different side-by-side rigs that would sum together to be able to go play and make their tones happen. And this has happened in a lot of eras, all the way back from the 60s on up for this kind of methodology of how you could achieve these bass tones. And the way this is primarily done is you split your signal coming out of your guitar, and your lows are something that you work on compressing and really just getting to be punchy. So you take out the muddy areas of the mix, the lows that don't sound very good, the ones that don't translate very well through the mix in general, right? And you remove those with a low pass filter. And then you generally just add compression to be able to really tighten up that low end sound. So you get it to punch, and it has that low punchy sound, but it doesn't have the muddy kind of gravelly sound that sometimes you can get with undesired bass tones, right? And then for your mid and highs, you have the ability to control your distortion. So if you want to distort things in those areas, you can. You can add drive to them to give them a bit of distortion, a gravelly kind of sound that you have control over, as well as controlling your levels to go along with those, right? So how much of that you want to put into the mix as it's going out there is something else that you have control of. And you can toggle all of these off, by the way, so on or off. So if you want low end compression on or off, you can turn it off entirely. If you're not looking for anything to change your mids, you can completely remove that. You can toggle it off and remove that part of the spectrum and be able to just control the lows and highs. Same with highs. If you want to remove that part and you just care about being able to get your low compression and your mid distortion, you could totally leave that on too. So whatever to flavor works for you is what you can do with the plugin. So it's very versatile. You can make a lot of changes here to make that happen. Finally, on low compression and high distortion, you have a low pass and high pass filter. So that's really pretty cool. Now you don't have it in the mids because you're controlling more of that through the equalizer, right? Which obviously you have the ability to control lows and mids there. I'm sorry, lows and highs there as well. But the low pass filter is really good. So that's what you can use in conjunction with compression to really tighten up your low end tone. Okay. Same with your high pass, being able to remove unwanted high range sounds, maybe some of the feedback that you might get from your guitar or something similar. You can remove some of those different types of things and just other unwanted rings that sometimes will happen in those higher ranges. You can get rid of that entirely. And then finally, controlling your levels with each one, your low, mids, and highs. You can control the level of output. So that way you can normalize and tune to your flavor depending on your configuration of your guitar, the pickups you're using, the type of distortions you're using, etc. How that's going to behave and what you're going to have come through in that final product of the output. Obviously, then you have your equalizer. You can go through and flavor any of that sound that you're getting through the low compression, the mid distortion, and the high distortions to what you actually want to have finally kind of escape out of there in a tune fashion, right? So it's another great way to be able to get your mids where you want them to be, your lows exactly where you want to be with it being nice, punchy, and kind of grunty, or just remove it entirely and have those mids really shine. Or if you want to maybe configure something where your highs can break through for a solo or something that you're going to do on the bass, you can make those things happen too. So the equalizer is very powerful. I use it an awful lot to get things to flavor. And it's funny, but there'll be times where I'll use the same preset and just make some slight tweaks to the equalizer and find that it almost completely changes the entire vibe of that preset to a point where it really can be something that is used all over the place, just with minor tweaks to an EQ, which is definitely telling on just how powerful this EQ is in this engine as well, which is really cool. Finally, what else do we have? We have our input levels. So your input level, you can control the value of how much you want to either boost that or drop it. So this really is going to come down to your signal chain, what you're putting into the input of the plugin. Okay, so if you, for example, have a guitar that has incredibly hot pickups, or maybe even something with like a sustainer or something similar, it's doing something like that, that can really boost your input level, right? And if you get that, this gives you the ability to drop that level that's coming in, so that way you're not clipping at your input. Okay. Secondarily, you have a gate that you can use, which is just a built-in noise gate. Really helpful. You can toggle that on and off if you want, but it's really nice to have that noise gate. It's a very good one. It's simple, easy, not really much that I'm going to go into with talking about it, other than to say that it'll clip just about anything you want it to with that gating. And I really do appreciate them throwing this in so I don't have to use the hardware ones when we're doing this. Transpose. This is that really cool feature I was talking about where you can go up or down 12 semitones, right, with your sound. So check this out. Right now I am in A tuning on my bass. So here's A. All right, so that was going down a little bit on the transposing. Now let's check out going up. Now, one thing I will call out with transposing, and this happens anytime you're using this type of feature. And it's not just with this plugin or with Neural DSP. It's really with anything that does transposing of notes. Okay, you'll get some strange sounds occasionally out of that, where it might not be pitch perfect, and you might not have some of those things because there's not really a lot of correction on pitching here. Okay, so if you're going to use these types of features with transpose specifically, I will tell you, if you're going to be recording into a DAW, it's just a quick pro tip. If I use transpose on a track that I'm recording in my DAW, I will turn on some light pitch correction with that captured track as well, because that does help to kind of reel in the note that you're looking for, because every once in a while it'll walk just a little bit. It'll almost sound like a guitar that's slightly out of intonation, especially with higher frequency notes and things. At least with Parallax, I've noticed it does that a little bit. So food for thought, if you are doing some recording and you decide to use that feature, you might need to use some light pitch correction just to be able to catch it and just keep it in its lane, right, of exactly where you want it to be. Input mode. Input mode is basically going to give you the opportunity to use either mono or stereo. So if you have a stereo jack in your guitar for your input, right, and you're going to run that to the input of the plugin, you can enable that here. Why this is disabled in mine is I only have a singular mono input. My bass is mono anyway, so I don't have a need to be able to have it in stereo. So I'm just using one lane of my audio interface, and because of that, it's blocked out. If I did have a secondary one in there though, right, and I ran a stereo cable with TRS cable with a stereo output jack off of my my bass here, then you could have that be enabled and give you that ability. Finally, all of your presets here. So Neural DSP throws in quite a number of built-in presets, which is pretty awesome. So you got lots of different players that have been sampled through their time using Parallax to basically give you all of their different presets that they have. So these are really neat. They're very specific, but these are all people that have kind of partnered with Neural DSP to be able to provide some great tones and presets for you. Okay, Neural DSP then threw in their own. And they basically said, hey, these are the ones that we think you'll kind of like, that are in the wheelhouse of all different genres of music that you're going to be playing with this, okay? And then finally, user. User is just the ones that you've created. You can see I'm a pretty big fan of Fear Factory, but that's one of my last videos I was using with my bass, where I was really using Parallax a lot. This is where I made some of those specific presets. And to be honest with you, I actually just started walking through some of the ones that I really liked here and just adjusted them. It was really nice to be able to kind of walk through, because Neural DSP did a great job of giving you a good smattering of preset here. That quite honestly is a little easier than trying to go through each and every one of these. Not saying there's anything wrong with these, and certainly people like Nolly are in here, which is freaking awesome. Like, there's lots of really good ones here, but yeah, these neural ones, they're pretty dang good. I was very, very surprised at the quality of these presets. But yeah, I digress. At any rate, you have your user presets that you can save, delete, remove around here. The other cool thing is you can share these, okay? So you have to go digging a little bit to be able to go find where those are saved on your system, and it depends on if you're Mac OS or PC, but you can save those presets, and you can also export them. So that does help if you have friends or someone else in the community that you'd like to share those files with. All they have to do is put those files into a specific area on their computer and restart the app, and it will show you those new presets there. But at any rate, this has been a quick walkthrough of a few of the features and the basics of the interface of Parallax.
Can't tear me apart! Can't tear me apart! Can't tear me apart! Can't tear me apart! No, you can't! We see no end to the dream. We will never see the end. We will never be the end. All my life, I felt this garden. Now I'm feeling it.
there you have it. Wrap up on our walkthrough of the new Parallax X plugin update. As I mentioned, I love it. I'm super excited to be able to see some more love come to Parallax. Every time I go to reach for a bass plugin, it's always going to Parallax. That's just been my go-to for the last couple of years. Getting the couple quality life updates I'm super happy about having in the plugin, but to be honest with you, I really just care about being able to get it on the X platform so that we can have the opportunity to get it to the Quad Cortex natively as soon as possible. I absolutely can't wait for that. Hope that update comes out later this month, being in July. It's been bumped back again a little bit. That's okay with me. I just want it to come out and be as well tested and perfect as we can get within the 3.0 update. So I'll have an update for you again on that 3.0 update. We'll do a full deep dive on the Quad Cortex to really see all the changes. I'll bring in every plugin that's available. We'll walk through all of those too and do some configuration changes. I might even do a live stream to be able to do some of that too. So let me know in the comments below if you'd be interested in that. We'll definitely get that going as soon as the update comes out. At any rate, we'll see you soon. Thanks for coming. Next time.